Hello, it's a lovely good evening. Welcome to Camnet Television Main News. My name is Jeffrey Ziambo to present. And our top stories in the news tonight: a LUSAKA witch doctor to be sued for obtaining money by false pretense after failing to cure epileptic patients. CHISHIMBA KAMBWILI claims to be the chosen one to economically liberate Zambia. President Hakainde Hichilema accused of over-politicizing the civil service. In international news, China reports almost 60,000 COVID-related deaths in the past month. And in sports news, Chelsea signed Ukraine forward from Shakhtar Donetsk.
From time immemorial, we have had different types of lighting options, from those that can burn down our investments in minutes to those that dig holes in our pockets due to constant replacement and huge consumption of our ZESCO units. Savenda Electric introduces the new and advanced electric bulb with cutting-edge technology of LED that has low power consumption, gives out bright white light, and lasts up to 25,000 hours. Savenda Electric manufactures all types of LED light, like plastic LED fluorescent tubes, down lights, ceiling lights, outdoor fittings, and solar street lights made to customer specifications. Let's live on the bright side of life by choosing the wide range of Savenda electric lighting solutions that are available in all leading stores and supermarkets countrywide. For orders, call 0962-642-490 or email jnbunda@savenda.com or pchabula@savenda.com.
On Monday, 16th January 2023, on National Matters, join Pastor Moses Chiluba with his guest Ngande Mwanajiti, the human rights defender, lawyer, and activist. As they discuss the role of civil society in governance.
Invite others to participate through phoning on Skype, Zoom, WhatsApp, and text messages.
On DSTV channel 274, GoTV channel 98, and Topstar channel 106.
Make a date with us. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Hello again, another news in detail. A security guard of Mutandabantu compound in Lusaka's Kanyama constituency has threatened to sue a named witch doctor on account that he obtained money from him by false pretense. In an interview with Camnet News, the complainant Indala Simvula says he approached the witch doctor to help him find a cure for epilepsy, which his two children are suffering from. However, no assistance was rendered despite paying a 1,700 kwacha. More in this report.
After paying 1,700 kwacha to a witch doctor in order to find a lasting solution to his two children's condition, this man of Lusaka's Mutandabantu compound in Kanyama constituency is now demanding for a refund after the named witch doctor allegedly failed to perform. Indala Simvula, a security guard who resorted to seek a witch doctor's assistance instead of rushing to the hospital, says he regrets ever taking such a step as no help was rendered to him. According to the complainant, he decided to visit the named witch doctor in Lusaka upon hearing the said traditional healer on radio and hoped to get answers on why his children had such a condition. His two named children have epilepsy, a common condition that affects the brain and causes frequent seizures.
After uchoza 200 nalipira na ningenesa mkati mwofesi aniuza ati kyanga na pamira ni 500 nachosa 500 nalipira. After kulipira 500 aniuza ati niende kunyumba wakatenge joti yapa nyumba ulete kuno tugwele tukupangile wone maprogramu amena wakwelera kuno na bwelela na kutenga joti yapa nyumba na upeleka Afuta napeleka kuja anapanga wamene zozibira anitana anipasa mila. Nyangane pa mila. Nangana pa mila kulipe zamene nao na pa mila.
All he wants is a refund and has threatened to allegedly sue the said traditional healer.
Alani uzati ukabwele pachani pamande. Pamande naendako kuenda ufika kujaji drama ukabwele pasani. Pasani ima mena naendela kule. Lelo pasani kuenda ufika kuja ine ali uzati kasilembekeza ni drama kupangi. Wenda utenga drama kupangi ine kulembekeza abula na polisi. Wapa chiruru polisi. Wamile wabula kumitenga kunipeleka ku polisi. Wenda ufika kuja ku polisi alembe sa statement wamele cha uru. After alembe sa statement kuja naine na alembe sa statement. Kulembe sa statement wa polisi wa Kambati. Isenganya amene mwaleta kumulaba nganga isi wa polisi kipingena. So iwo amene watengelewa ndrama. Uende ku koti wala kutangiza wa koti.
Upon hearing his side, Concerned Citizen for Justice and Human Rights decided to call the alleged accused and hear his defense, as well before the institution could try and reconcile the two parties.
Kuliko complaint against him, complaint chokera kuliba indala vame mnatandizira vame mwego funiko utandizira but tandizwa tiswana ipeze mnatenga ndrama kwa na 1,700 then lelo atumawapeleka ku garden police then ndrama mkana kubabwezera Okay, chabwino munga kwanise kuti tibwirete mvere mbali yanu mailo 9 hours kwa kanyama ku human rights.
The complainant has since been referred to court, hoping that the local court will consider his plea and have his money refunded. Miriam Kaimba reporting for Camnet TV News.
3 people have been arrested in Kawe on allegations that they were tampering with flowers and palm trees planted at the roundabout where the infamous Kenneth Kaunda statue is mounted. The 3 suspects have been identified as Nelson Miti, 28 of High Ridge, Mwanza Mukanzo, 16 of Obama in Lusaka, and Christopher Mukosha, 26 of Chiwombo District. According to the Kawe Mayor, Mr. Patrick Chishala, the trio was arrested by council police after a tip-off from the general public who spotted them at the infamous roundabout plucking off flowers and palm trees.
3 people have been arrested in Kawe for tampering with the infamous KK statue and the flowers around the roundabout where the statue is mounted. According to Kawe Mayor Mr. Patrick Chala, the trio were arrested by council police after a tip-off from members of the general public who spotted them at the infamous roundabout. The trio were partially detained in one of the holding rooms at the civic center and were later on led to the roundabout by the mayor and some council police officers. The 3 have been identified as Nelson Miti, 28 of High Ridge, Mwanza Mukanzo, 16 of Obama in Lusaka, and Christopher Mukosha, 26 of Chiwombo District. According to Mr. Chala, the trio were this morning around 07 hours spotted plucking off flowers and palm trees planted at the roundabout. The mayor was visibly charged and almost manhandled the trio.
Why? Why? Tell me you are here now. Why you are happy now? Eat this. You want to eat these flowers. Eat them. Deal with me. Deal with me. Not the flowers. Deal with Patrick. I'm here now. Deal with me. Huh? Deal with me.
Not kunipienga sanimenya osanifuemba lonifuemba awawe imwe na mwana wanga huyu hapa zone osanifuemba nsiyenza ziyendela.
The 3 suspects were taken to Central Police, where another confusion ensued among the police officers on the basis of how the case should be handled. This was after one of the police officers in plain clothes, only identified as Sergeant Tembo from another station, a relative to one of the suspects, ordered the arresting officer that his nephew be issued with a medical form on allegations that he was equally assaulted by the mayor. The 2 police officers exchanged bitter words in the full view of the mayor, whom later was equally caught up in the fracas, denouncing him as a less educated person. Petronella Msangulule, Camnet TV News, in Kabwe, Central Province.
Government through Lukanga Water and Sanitation Company has injected over 17 million kwacha to improve water supply in Mumba district of Central Province. This came to light when Central Province Minister Credo Nanjua made his tour to inspect rehabilitation works at Chivila Dam, which was washed away by heavy rains in 2020. Mr. Nanjua says government is aware of the water challenges residents in the districts have been facing.
Water is an essential need for both humans and animals. However, the poor supply of the commodity can have an adverse impact. Central Province Minister Credo Nanjua has toured and inspected the construction works being undertaken by Lukanga Water and Sanitation Company aimed at reducing water challenges in Mumba district. Speaking to the media shortly after his tour, Mr. Nanjua was happy with the works done so far.
I would say that the new Dawn government, His Excellency the President, my counterpart from the Ministry of Water, working together, we have seen this kind of investment coming into the constituency and into the district. This is a milestone that we need to appreciate. 17 million in 1 year to be injected here, I think is one of its kind, because I don't think is anywhere else where this kind of an injection has been given.
And the Lukanga Water and Sanitation Company Managing Director Yorams Nyangwe has thanked the government for coming to the aid of Mumba residents.
That we have received, Honorable Minister, through the support of your government is in a tune of about 17 million kwacha plus. Yes. So once this is done, we're going to see that the water supply, which has now reduced only to about 5 hours at most, will increase to at least a minimum of 18 hours. That is our target by September this year. Of course, even before we reach September, some of the benefits will start being seen by our residents here in Mumba. So I just want to thank you, Honorable Minister, and also just to plead with our customers that let them be patient, otherwise this problem which has existed now is almost over.
Mr. Nanjua, who is also Mumba Central Member of Parliament, has appealed to the residents to be on high alert in securing the facility.
Let us appreciate this kind of support from government and protect these assets for our own good. When government constructs an asset like that, it's not for the benefit of the government, it's for the benefit of the citizens. So with the people of Mumba ourselves, we have been complaining of bad water reticulation in the central business district, but now we are seeing that this will be a thing of the past. Hence, let's get together. As a constituency, these are some of the priorities that we have given ourselves. I know others will cry about the road infrastructure, but the water issue in the central business district has been an issue.
Matthias Chewe, Camnet TV News, Mumbwa.
Opposition political parties have charged that a number of engineers at the state power utility company ZESCO were fired since the United Party for National Development took over office in 2021, thus contributing to the ongoing electricity crisis in the country. National Democratic Congress leader Saboyi Imboela regrets that positions in the civil service have been politicized, thus undermining delivery of development. Meanwhile, Patriotic Front Deputy Media Director Edwin Lifokelo has urged the current government to desist from blaming its social and economic misfortunes on the former ruling party. Here's a report.
As various perspectives continue to emerge on the energy crisis the country is facing that has seen the enforcement of a 12 hours load management schedule, government critics have challenged the UPND administration to be truthful and prioritize Zambians in terms of access to electricity. For now, it is obvious that the 12 hours of load shedding has had a negative impact on small and medium enterprises, and President Hakainde Hichilema's administration has indicated that it will continue to prescribe short and long-term measures to mitigate the problem that has partly been attributed to the low water levels at the Kariba North Bank power station. National Democratic Congress NDC President Savoy Imbwela believes that the power crisis Zambia is experiencing is owing to the move by the UPND government to fire competent engineers at the state power utility. She alleges that most of the people at ZESCO and other institutions in the energy sector are incompetent, hence the lapses are being exhibited through the mismanagement of the power sector, adding that the trend is the same in other sectors of the economy.
It is a fact that when the UPND formed government, they did fire a lot of professionals. So I find that in most of these ministries, we've got people that are not competent. People are facing that and are able to experience that when it comes to load shedding, because this is in their homes. When they are load shedded, everybody feels it from their homes, from their businesses. So it's very clear like that. But the truth of the matter is that in most of these ministries, that is what has happened. And that is why for me, I always say that let's separate administration from politics. If somebody is competent, let them do that. That is why we need a professional civil service. There are people, or rather there are offices which are constitutional, let's say maybe the PSAs and all these the commissioners and everything. Those ones you can let them have these appointments from the president. But the civil service has to be professional. People have to rise through the ranks to get to various positions, not whereby directors, you politicize the level of a director and you fire people.
Meanwhile, Patriotic Front PF Deputy Media Director Edwin Rifekelo has advised the UPND government against attributing challenges in the energy sector to the former ruling party.
So government must be sincere. I like what Honorable Nkombo has said, if it's been quoted correctly, that this blame game of this PF, let it come to an end. PF is no longer in government. There's UPND, those are the ones that are in government, they're in the driving seat. We did our part, we played our part. Now it's for the UPND to take the mantle and add value to the welfare of the Zambian people. The idea of saying PF will never end. It's like someone bringing a new wife and then you are saying, I think the reason why I don't have money is because of the previous wife who was here. That's a story which is long gone, it's been buried, and then you have to start on a new slot. So our advice to UPND is that stop being cry babies. You said you would do better than PF have played their role, they are no longer there. Now show the leadership.
Patrick Soko, Camnet News.
President Hakainde Hichilema has been urged to be courageous and appoint whoever he wants to work with to fulfill his vision. Former Chilubi District Commissioner Gilbert Mwila has urged Zambians to allow the president to work with the best Zambians available regardless of their tribe. Mr. Mwila says the current problems the country is facing, ranging from the high cost of living, load shedding, among others, are not unique to the UPND administration, as every government has experienced them. Mr. Mwila has told Camnet News that the issue of tribal balancing should not deter the president from appointing the people he wants to work with, as long as they can perform.
If he trusts people from his farm, he should be allowed to go and pick people from his farm to work with, because it is his presence. He will be judged alone at the end of the day. Right now it's President Lungu has been judged, but there are a lot of people that work in his government. So in Zambia, the president has to be given space to work independently, to choose the best people. That is the starting point to solving a lot of problems. The pressure from cadres, the pressure from tribes mates, the pressure from regions, it's a pressure that leads to a ditch, because you can end up filling positions with people based on such affiliations who are non-performers, and in the end things go haywire. So I think in this new year we can wish him the best. I know Zambia is going through challenges right now. Load shedding is affecting all of us who are small scale business people and farmers, but in coming back to the media after this while of resting, it's just an appeal to encourage the president to have that courage. It is his time, it is his tenure, it is running fast, And it's up to him now, after a year and going into 2 years, to have that freedom that every leader needs to choose the best people to work with, regardless of where they're coming from.
Patriotic Front aspiring President CHISHIMBA KAMBWILI has charged that he is better placed to take over the leadership of the former ruling party because he has good plans to make Zambia a better country. Mr. KAMBWILI says given an opportunity to govern the country, he would industrialize Zambia and stop the dependence on foreign direct investment. He claims that his performance when he served as a parliamentarian and minister speaks for itself as he demonstrated to be a man of action. Mr. KAMBWILI tells Camnet News that Zambians will regret having wasted time before voting for him.
I've been on the political scene for a long time, and my performance in government at parliamentary level can attest to the fact that I believe in action, and everything I touch moves in the positive. And I think I care for the poor, and I have a plan to revive this country economically and otherwise, to industrialize this country and create the much needed jobs. I have a plan of how to raise money for the government to create its own industries, not depending on direct foreign investment. So, given an opportunity to preside over the affairs of this nation, people will say,
UPND Alliance partner Cassius Akapelwa has noted the need for the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development to find alternative trading places before chasing street vendors in the central business district of Lusaka. Mr. Akapelwa notes the need to upgrade some makeshift markets so that they can accommodate traders. He, however, acknowledges that vending poses serious threats of escalating waterborne diseases such as cholera, hence the need to strike a balance. Meanwhile, Mr. Akapelwa has advised opposition leaders to go easy on condemning foreign trips being undertaken by President Hakainde Hichilema as they help forge international relations. In an interview, Mr. Akapelwa says the current international trip made by the president is beneficial and may help Zambia finance trade partnerships to help cushion the energy crisis. President Hichilema is in Abu Dhabi, United Arab Emirates, to attend the Abu Dhabi Sustainability Week at the invitation of His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan, the President of the United Arab Emirates.
Trading places for our people, because look, we have thousands and thousands of people on the streets. Now, looking at the space of the new markets like City Market and Simoson, I think those would not be able to accommodate everyone. So I think the decision by the President of this Republic, Mr. President Hakainde Hichilema, to halt that decision, I think is a welcome move. Because for now, what we have to start thinking is to quickly resolve the matter by constructing markets for our people, demolish those shackles of makeshifts to at least a standardized kind of a business location. Because look, we have to have a solution for our people. These are our people. So if we do it haphazardly, it's going to cost us. You understand? So at the end of the day, for me, my plea is that if we could quickly move in and save a situation by allocating stands to a few people for now and go flat out and build a proper market at Soweto, because there's Soweto at the far end and there's that makeshift. We can go up. We have to think for the future, because at the end of the day, majority of our people are traders.
The National Union of Public and Private Educators of Zambia, NUPEZ, has urged the UPND administration to invest heavily in communication so that citizens can appreciate what the government is doing in facilitating development in various sectors of the economy. Addressing the media on various issues affecting the education sector, the NUPE's President Victor Muyumba says the UPND administration needs to communicate to citizens how various policies are being enforced. He adds that the lack of communication by the government is causing dissatisfaction among the people. More in this report.
Almost a year plus in government, the United Party for National Development has continued to work on its stores and ensure that it is on top of achieving each and every campaign promise it made to citizens. Many have continued condemning the current administration and accusing it of failing to fulfill its promise, a condemnation that has commenced before even its 5 years mandate ends. However, some, like the National Union of Public and Private Educators of Zambia, are of the view that the current administration has been able to do more in the 1 year plus in office. However, it has not heavily invested in communication, thereby leaving some stakeholders with a view that nothing much has been done. Sunday morning, NUPE's President Victor Muyumba called on government to communicate to citizens on works done and future plans. Mr. Muyumba touched on this when he addressed the media on various issues affecting the education sector.
As a union, we don't play politics here, but we do advise. And we hope the UPND government will invest heavily in communication to the people out there in terms of where we are coming from, where we are, and where we are going. Because right now, there's a lot of dissatisfaction. People feel there isn't much information reaching them, or nothing is happening. There are a number of good things we have seen ourselves. For example, remittances to social security institutions such as NAPSA are now timely. Even remittances to banks from which institutions our members borrow are timely now, which is very good. But this information is not going out there. It's not being made public.
Meanwhile, NUPES has called on the Ministry of Education to actualize the implementation of the 2 career pathways.
So in as much as we commend government, we are also saying God has gifted us differently. What I'm good at may not be what my friend is good at. While some may be good on the academic path, others may be good on the vocational path. But our education system is biased towards the academic path. And because it's biased towards the academic path, we are going to wrongly judge those that are gifted at the vocational path. Therefore, we call on the authorities that this reintroduction of the cutoff point is supposed to be married together with the implementation of the 2-tier education system.
Miriam Kaimba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Teachers' unions are happy that the Ministry of Education opted to cancel the automatic progression of learners from primary to secondary education. Secondary School Union of Zambia SESTU Secretary General Sitibekiso Wamuyua says the automatic progression from primary to secondary education was retrogressive in improving education standards. He tells Camnet News that secondary school teachers were put on unnecessary pressure by trying to teach pupils who were unable to read and write. And Mr. Wamuyua has attributed the poor pass rate of grade 9 to the automatic progression from primary to secondary education.
We had always advocated for the abolishment of this automatic progression because it was not really serving anyone's interest. You realize that even those who were not able to read and write at the grade 7 level were allowed to proceed to grade 8 or to secondary school. So when they reach grade 8, when they reach the secondary level, they are not able to perform. And it's not fair for them. It's not fair for the child, it's not fair for the teacher. So you put the teacher at secondary school under unnecessary pressure by trying to teach a child who cannot read and write, literacy, and yet a secondary school teacher is not trained to do that. You subject the learner who has not learned anything, who has not acquired any skills at grade 7, to come and learn more difficult substances or stuff at secondary level. So really, when you look at it in totality, you realize you are not favoring even that child, because at the end of the day, they will get nothing, even when it comes to writing the grade 9 exams. You may notice that the pass rate at grade 9 has been very, very low all along for some time, around 54%, 53%. And yet when you look at the grade 12 pass rate, it is always above 60. So why should people pass better an exam which is supposed to be more difficult and fail that which is relatively easier? So you start asking yourself questions. Is the grade 12 exam more easier than the grade 9 exam? Not at all.
You're watching Camnet Television Main News. We'll take a break. We'll be back with more news after the break.
In our quest to save nations and develop Africa, Savenda is investing in the agriculture sector so as to produce supply for both local and international markets, housing over 12,000 pullets that are nurtured and fed with our locally made stock feed that comes from our own locally grown maize and soya beans, all processed from our recently installed milling and mixing plant. Our over 95,000 layers have an output capacity of over 1,500 trays of fresh eggs per day that are carefully selected and packaged for all the leading stores and supermarkets nationwide. Our greenhouses are fitted with the latest irrigation system, and the seedlings are nurtured to ensure only healthy plants reach the fields. With our deliberate planting schedule, we are better placed to supply constantly without interruption, thus reliable. Savenda Farms is also changing lives of its dedicated workforce drawn from the local community and beyond. So the next time you think fresh and green, think Savenda Farms.
Your skin is the biggest muscle in your body. That's why we make sure that Oracle is #1 when it comes to taking care of your precious skin. Oracle Pure Petroleum Jelly and Glycerin soothes, moisturizes and keeps your skin perfect. Oracle Pure Petroleum products for that perfect skin.
On Monday, 16th January 2023, on National Matters, join Pastor Moses Chiluba with his guest Ngande Mwanajiti, the human rights defender, lawyer, and activist. As they discuss the role of civil society in governance.
Invite others to participate through phoning on Skype, Zoom, WhatsApp and text messages.
On DSTV channel 274, GoTV channel 98 and Topstar channel 106.
Make a date with us. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Welcome back. We'll continue with our news. Mumbwa District Agricultural Coordinator Dr. Nicholas Mainza says the urea fertilizer under the Farmer Import Support Program FISP, which ran out of stock in the district, is now readily available. Dr. Mainza was speaking during the Zonkai cassava seed multiplication. He has since assured all farmers who never got their fertilizer to go to the designated collection centers to collect. Dr. Mainza has further thanked the farmers for exercising patience during the period the commodity ran out of stock and has since urged them to immediately apply in their crops. More in the following report.
Any well-meaning farmer today can actually raise up and say, Mumbwa district shall never be the same where agriculture is concerned.
Kumulimi ya uzanda kwa mpata kendo kasaka munkwa. Uyeji kuona kwa mpati bala mutabezo kuseleza yantomwi
I know whenever farmers see the jargon standing up to speak, all they think is fertilizer. Don't worry, the government of the day is working and the inputs are coming, they are already in the districts. So to all my farmers, I want to say, let's take up this opportunity if we want to, to enhance the income generation within our households so that we can never be the same again.
Ma cooperative kunkala monga aindogonerera. Chioneka monga inangu ma cooperatives banafo mnganyepe banaona kuti benangu bali kudoba ko masuku. Badoba ko fisipo so nice tent for me. Meaning abantu banafo mingi abali be knowledge. Yamena that nanga cooperative pachameno wa forming ila nchani. Kwa mkangana ma cooperatives enangu aya akudala ndiye amazo that yamet forming ya cooperative ni chikuchira ma cooperative amasiku ya.
The Cleaning Association of Zambia, CAZ, is appealing to the government to consider removing tax on raw materials used to produce hand sanitizers, among others, following the rising cases of COVID-19. Association President Lawrence Makumbi says government must exempt materials such as face masks, gloves and hand sanitizers, among others. Mr. Makumbi says government should assist the cleaning industry and not wait for the COVID-19 numbers to increase. He says the importation of chemicals must be zero-rated in order to encourage cleaning companies to import these materials quickly and prepare adequately for the COVID-19 pandemic.
What we want now from the government is to quickly remove the taxes on the raw materials that are used to produce hand sanitizers and all these chemicals that we use to prevent COVID. All those masks and gloves that we need in Zambia that are there to prevent COVID must be tax-free. We must exempt these things from being imported. We must be proactive and not wait for the numbers to increase in the next 1 month to astronomical levels. We must start planning now because we have been at this point 3 years ago. We want the government to make sure that the importation of raw materials, importation of chemicals is zero-rated so that we can encourage our members, the cleaning companies, to import quickly and make sure we prepare adequately for the COVID wave that has started. We also wish to call upon the government through the Ministry of Health to ensure that they engage more visibility at the airports, the port of entries, because what is happening is that our airports and our ports of entry are very porous. We have seen the Western countries and the European countries step up their surveillance, but here in Zambia we are still sleeping. We must make sure that we do that quickly before people that have got this strain of the virus enter this country and we do not have the adequate resources to protect our people. Hence, surveillance is very key.
The Zambia Police and the Department of Immigration raided and apprehended a house in Chirundu where 29 suspected illegal immigrants believed to be of Burundian origin were hiding. Preliminary investigations revealed that the immigrants were about to be smuggled into Zimbabwe. Zambia Police Deputy Spokesperson, Deputy Public Relations Officer Danny Mwale says around 06 hours, police officers received a tip-off from a concerned member of the public that illegal immigrants were accommodated at a house in Mission Compound in Chirundu District. Mr. Mwale says police alerted officers from the Department of Immigration and together moved in following the report, and 29 suspects aged between 10 and 40 believed to be Burundians were apprehended.
Police alerted officers from the Department of Immigration and together they moved in following the report, and 29 suspects aged between 10 and 40 believed to be Burundians were apprehended. Among them are 9 females, the youngest being 10-year-old minor. Further investigations and 4 undocumented foreign nationals. They are currently at immigration offices in Chirundu where they are undergoing screening process.
A Lusaka-based youth advocate, Brilliant Nyirenda, has called on the government to start engaging stakeholders on how best Zambia can enhance the monitoring of mineral resources. He says monitoring is key in steering transparency and accountability of the various minerals being exploited. Mr. Nyirenda wonders why the government has not taken up the responsibility of building capacity in the locals to run mines. Mr. Nyirenda says the mineral resources that the country possesses, if well utilized, will greatly contribute to the country's economy.
And Zambia is blessed with minerals. Now, those minerals, are we using them according to how we're supposed to use them? The answer is no. We have tax holidays. Why should we give tax holidays at the expense of our minerals? Are we able to retrieve the things that they are getting at the expense of a tax holiday? No, we're not able to do that. So why not do a barter system? They get our minerals, we also get our tax, and that tax can promote and develop the nation internally. We should be able to look at that kind of arrangement. Not only that, I remember the minister talked about Zambians not having capacity to run mines. I believe as a leader, we should be able to create that capacity, to build that capacity in the people that are not having the capacity. Because as long as we keep depending on other people, we shall be subjected to their interest and not our interest, because we're vulnerable. Now, for us to overcome that vulnerability, we need to create the capacity. How are we going to build the capacity? We have bilateral relations. Each country in the world has got a representative of another country. So that representation through an embassy, through an ambassador, is what brings about a good relation with that particular country. We can be sending our people, our young people, the youths, to certain countries that are good at doing that. They get trained, they come back to this country, they also train others, then we can build capacity in that order. Unlike always saying we cannot do this because we don't have capacity. For how long are we going to cry not having capacity? And for how long are we going to suffer the consequences of not having capacity? Because if we always continue crying for capacity without building it, we shall keep on losing our resources.
You're watching Camnet Television and not just another channel. We'll take a second and final break. We'll be back with international and sports news.
You know I can take Arabic.
Yes, my dear.
I was thinking of getting you a Bugatti on your birthday.
Really?
I'm quiet. My name is Yana.
Don't worry, my dear. That's why there is insurance.
Insurance?
You heard me.
Not just any kind of insurance, but Savenda General Insurance, a company that offers superior customer service, highly professional and dedicated staff. We are not just any insurance company, but an insurance company that actually pays our claims. We cover, among others, fire, marine, aviation, engineering, agriculture, motor vehicle, and miscellaneous insurance. So, live life to the full, knowing that Savenda General Insurance has got you covered. Savenda General Insurance. Insurance excellence.
On Monday, 16th January 2023, on National Matters, join Pastor Moses Chiluba with his guest Ngande Mwanajiti, the human rights defender, lawyer, and activist. As they discuss the role of civil society in governance.
Invite others to participate through phoning on Skype, Zoom, WhatsApp, and text messages.
On DSTV channel 274, GoTV channel 98, and Topstar channel 106.
Make a date with us. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Welcome back. And now in international news, thousands of soldiers and supporters of the Polisario Front, the Western Sahara's pro-independence movement, met on Thursday at the Dakhla refugee camp in the Tindouf region of Algeria to hold the start of a party conference. The gathering will seek to discuss party policy and strategy in its struggle against Morocco, which has controlled most of Western Sahara since moving in 1975 after the withdrawal of Spanish colonies. The Polisario movement's 16th Congress will also see a leadership election and runs until 17 January. Meanwhile, the Chinese government says 60,000 people with COVID-19 died in hospital since it abandoned its strict pandemic policy last month. It is a sharp increase from previously reported figures, but scientists say the true tally is likely to be higher. For more in News Beyond Our Borders, here's a roundup.
The Polisario Movement's 16th Congress, the Western Sahara's pro-independence movement, is set for a leadership election this Tuesday. Since Thursday, thousands of soldiers and supporters gathered at the Dakhla refugee camp in the Tindouf region of Algeria to hold the party conference. The gathering is discussing party policy and strategy in its struggle against Morocco, which has controlled most of Western Sahara since moving in 1975. Continued armed combat after the occupier Morocco broke the ceasefire on 13 November 2020 has put the Western Sahara issue back onto the international stage. The UN Security Council has called for a revival of negotiations on the disputed territory and has expressed deep concern at the breakdown of the 1991 ceasefire between Morocco and Polisario. But the long-running dispute shows no sign of ending. The solution to the issue of Western Sahara is known. It has always been and has been since the 1970s. Respect international law and legitimacy. That is what the Sahrawi people and the Polisario Front have fought for. In fact, nothing has changed, except that the Polisario Front was forced to resume armed combat since the UN failed to enforce international law and impose legitimacy for Western Sahara. Through the Congress, the leadership of the Polisario Front is looking to maintain support within the party for its position that only a military approach can win independence for Western Sahara.
Almost 60,000 people have died from COVID-19 in China in the past 5 weeks. That's according to new data released on Saturday. It's a huge increase from previous figures, and health officials say the elderly have been hit the hardest.
Severely ill patients are mainly elderly people, with the oldest being 105, the average age 75.5, and those aged 60 and above, accounting for 89.6% of the cases. It's also common for them to have a variety of underlying diseases.
The World Health Organization and several countries have accused China of underrepresenting the scale of the outbreak. Early last month, Beijing abruptly lifted its zero-COVID policy after almost 3 years. Hospitals nationwide were overwhelmed and medical staff under enormous pressure, including American doctor Howard Bernstein.
Everything was just completely clogged up. You know, the emergency room was full, every bed was full, the waiting room was full, waiting in to get to the emergency room, the fever clinic was full, and then all the ICU and the hospital beds were taken.
Previously, only people who died from coronavirus-induced respiratory failure were included in the official death toll. Now, those who died of the virus, in combination with other illnesses, are being counted.
The government says the number of people being treated in fever clinics like these peaked in late December, but that number has now declined by about 80%.
Dr. Bernstein says his hospital is no longer crowded, but the outbreak is far from over.
There was a sort of shocking amount of illness and degree of illness, and now we're dealing with a different COVID phenomena, which I'm identifying as the people who are ill in December who have still do not feel like they've recovered.
Millions of Chinese are traveling from cities to remote regions in the lead-up to the Lunar New Year, movement that's expected to cause a surge in infections. Authorities are focusing on improving medical facilities and access to medicines in rural areas. International health experts have welcomed the new data, but as the figures only include those who died in hospital, they say the true death toll could be much higher. Katrina Yu, Al Jazeera, Beijing.
It's now time for sports news. In Sports news tonight. Chelsea have completed the signing of Ukraine forward Mikhailo Modric from Shakhtar Donetsk. The 22-year-old arrives at Stamford Bridge on an 8.5-year deal for a fee of 70 million euros plus a further 30 million euros in bonuses. Chelsea beat Premier League rivals Arsenal to the signing of Modric, who scored 7 goals in 12 league appearances for Shakhtar this season. Modric is at Stamford Bridge for Chelsea's Premier League fixture against Crystal Palace on Sunday afternoon. He had looked set to sign for Arsenal, but Shakhtar confirmed club president Rinat Akhmetov met with Chelsea co-owner Bedard Egbali on Saturday to discuss the player's move to West London. To end Camnet television news, the headlines once again. A LUSAKA witch doctor to be sued for obtaining money by false pretense after failing to cure epileptic patients. CHISHIMBA KAMBWILI claims to be the chosen one to economically liberate Zambia. President Hakainde Hichilema accused of over-politicizing the civil service. In international news, China reports almost 60,000 COVID-related deaths in the past month. And in sports news, Chelsea signed Ukraine forward from Shakhtar Donetsk. We now look at the current verse of the day, which is coming from Psalms 143, verse 8. Let the morning bring me word of your unfailing love, for I have put my trust in you. Show me the way I should go, for to you I entrust my life. Thank you again for watching Camnet Television News. I'm Jeffrey Ziambo. Good night.